Hola, estamos aquí con Arnie, que nos va a hacer un paseo por el equipo y por el sistema de sonido que tenemos hoy en el recital de Ricky Martin.
The first thing that I have, obviously, the SD7, which I'm operating at 48K. I have two SD racks for about 77 inputs that I'm bringing into the desk. And I'm using a lot of onboard effects. Those are the onboard effects. I have two delay times for Ricky. I have a reverb for horns. This was for an opening act, which we don't have anymore. And then I have two guitar reverbs specific for them. This guitar reverb is for acoustic guitars and the cuatro, and my other reverbs are down here. I have this is the remote control for the TC Electronics M6000, which is right here, and I have four devices. The first one is a vocal reverb that I use for Ricky. The next one is obviously a drum plate. And then I have a small percussion room that I'm using for the percussion. And lastly, a medium vocal hall for the background vocals. In my effects rack, I have the two Avalons. One of them is this top one. Well, first let's take a look at the console so you can see. So my main vocal channels are these two, which I run at the same time, and these two are the spare. This one is the one with the Avalon, which is an analog signal that comes to me all the way from the stage, goes directly into the Avalon, and the Avalon is inserted into a channel here. This is how it gets into the console through my mini rack here in front of house. The second channel is directly into the console at the stage, and I blend the two based on the type of song. If it's a ballad song where he gets really close on the mic and has a lot of that presence, microphone effect, proximity effect, then I'll favor the direct line. For the more rockin' songs, where I can afford more of that proximity, I'll use the Avalon signal. And then I have that duplicated on two extra channels in the console, and this is my spare backup system. The next effects that I have are two distressors, which of course I use for the bass and for the saxophone. And
what is exactly the job of the distressor?
Okay, so the distressor is this is the model number, is an EL8X. This is basically, it's a compressor, and it has some tonal characteristics that are fun to play with, and obviously a little bit more advanced than the compressor that is on the console already, which is a good compressor, but sometimes you want to have a little bit more fun with the sound and the effect that the compressor has on it. These two units, I inherited these units from the previous engineer. This unit is called the Fatso, and you can't tell here because it's covered up with the tape, but it's the Empirical Labs Fatso, and these are dual channel units. And the effect is that it essentially is an undigitizing effect. It's used for bringing a warm quality, enhancing the even order harmonics of a signal, and I'm not convinced entirely that they do what they're intended to do for this tour, but the backing vocals here are for the Pro Tool playback background vocals. We have backing vocals that are live, and I use the onboard compressor in the console for them. But for the tracks, because they're pulled from many different sources, sometimes they hit these a little bit harder than others. And then this bottom unit here does the same thing for DC. He's our David Cabrera, he's our musical director. So his guitar goes through that warming circuit, and then our other guitar player, Jason, goes through the warming circuit there. The last thing that I have in here is the Bricasti M7 stereo reverb. This is the main reverb that I use on Ricky's vocal.
Why do you use that?
This is a really terrific reverb, and and fortunately I inherited this one as well. It was already in the specifications for this tour, and I can't think of a better reverb to have had for its quality, the size, ease of use. It's I don't know when else I would have ever gotten a chance to really play with it except out here on this, and it's great. I leave it on the same setting, which is let me find out which one it is. But basically, I'm adjusting the time. Obviously, for the ballads, I go for the longer time, and for the more pop, the faster songs, I'll take it down to 1.5 or 1 3/4 seconds.
You do it right from here?
I do it right here live, yeah. The setting, I forget what it is. Oh, live, wait. I have that one. I have a live hall, large hall. I think I hardly ever go to this one. The live hall seems to work well for me. And strangely enough, when we play in stadiums, I often don't have to use very much of this because it has a natural reverb already. But for the ballads, when he's singing more softly, I have to give him a lot of that reverb. So I spend most of the time in the live hall in the 2-second range. There we go. Yeah, so most of my time I spend right around 2 seconds, 2 in there, something like that. For other elements that I have, the other toy that I have is that guy. It's that's how I output to the PA. It's 4 channels in, 4 channels out, and it's just straight EQ. And this is the controller for it. So this is my channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4. So you can see on my left and right group, that's my EQ.
You do it from here, the EQ?
Yeah.
You control it from here, but you do it in the DSP of the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the remote control for the Lake unit. And then I forgot to do this today. I'm going to do this now.
Oh, right.
There. So I have an RTA set up through Smart. This is Smart version 7, and that's my RTA display during the show. So that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
What is the level you...
SPL?
Yeah, you work.
When we played in Buenos Aires, there was a man measuring there because there's a neighborhood very close by, and my limit was supposed to be 98 A-weighted over the course of the entire show. Obviously, the crowd is very loud also, so we had to take that into account, and I asked him to warn me if we were ever going to come in danger of exceeding that. And he didn't warn me for the whole show. So I was probably around 98 or maybe 99 dB A-weighted average for the course of the whole show, which is a 1.5 hour show. But
here you can punch it a little more. Right?
Yeah, and normally I do. I'm probably averaging 100, 101. But it really comes down to how loud the audience is going to be.
Oh.
And obviously, if I have to overcome any room effects, here we're practically out in the open, so I don't have to fight the room. I don't have to fight any bouncing from walls. So I'm actually probably a little bit quieter here than I would be normal. Normally, yeah.
How do you manage to work with the scream of the fans, the girl fans screaming around you?
It's not worth it to fight them. You know, I could raise the master level, but
they raise their master screaming master level.
Yeah, exactly. I think the best approach, and many people will agree, the best approach is to let the crowd determine for themselves how loud they want to be based on whether they want to hear the show or not. So they're usually pretty loud to begin with, but then they back off, you know, and sometimes you get a crowd that's just not a very loud crowd. But here in South America, the crowds are so loud. It's really great because that's why we do this live stuff. I love the live show. And when we have a really passionate crowd that gets into it, that sings everything. But it's not worth fighting them to overpower them with sound because it's almost rarely a losing battle. So I don't fight them.
Say goodbye and say hello to all the people here, all sound technicians and friends that are watching you.
Okay. Hello. Mucha suerte con todo en Uruguay, en Sudamérica.
Say your name.
Arnie. My name is Arnie Hernandez, and this is the Ricky Martin tour.